Assalamu alaikum, and peace and blessings be upon you and your family. I think sometimes because it's
I am wearing an outfit from
the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, so I'm happy to be on the show with
I
you.
thank you so much.
a woman shall rise as high as her God-given gifts.
Welcome to another episode of At My Sister's House. Peace and blessings to you and your family, and we thank you for joining us again for another episode. So before we get started, just want to remind you to subscribe, to like the show, and to become a part of our movement and our family. So thank you again. I am honored to have today with us a sister who is a dear friend of mine. I am so grateful and thankful you accepted the invitation. I am bringing to you all today Miss Jackie Robinson. She is the Chief Operating Officer of the People's Action. It is a nonprofit organization right here in the city of Detroit, and as we're going to find out, national. I thank you so much for being on, and it is our honor to have you, okay?
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Now, let's jump into it. The People's Action.
Yes.
When did it start?
So the People's Action was founded in 2018
Okay.
in the city of Detroit by Nagus Fu. He is the former vice president of New Era Detroit.
Oh, okay.
And he has been an organizer and engaged in the community for over 10 years now. So the People's Action started off as a political action committee and fostered into a grassroots 501c3 that's located here in the city of Detroit. And we also have chapters in Houston, Texas, and Atlanta, Georgia.
Excellent. And you're the Chief Operating Officer.
Yes.
What is the People's Action about? I know you said it's a grassroots organization. What's the goal?
So our primary goal is to engage community. And we engage community to learn about what those members feel like would make their community as vibrant and livable and just beautiful as you would see in our suburban or more affluent counterparts. So we believe that if you empower the residents, the community will flourish. So our programs are tailored to each community. We are not one of those nonprofits that say this is what we have to offer and this is what you need. We rely heavily on data collection, and we interview and canvass entire neighborhoods and use those responses to build out programs and empower those residents to lead those programs to better their communities.
Excellent. Now, you're not just working in the communities alone. You're actually in school systems and other programs through the city. Can we speak on that one?
Absolutely. So our primary and most visible program here in the city of Detroit is our Community Violence Intervention Program. It is a program that was funded by the city of Detroit. They chose, I believe, 7 nonprofits that already had relationships in these communities. And one of the aspects of that program is to engage those schools that have at-risk youth.
Okay.
And high-risk youth. So we're talking about youth that have already been prosecuted for armed robberies, youth that we know are already active shooters, but they are attending our public schools and interacting with our children and interacting with the public.
Right.
So we have teams in those schools. We have a team in Henry Ford, we have a team in Emerson, and a couple of other schools in West Detroit, and our team meets with those at-risk and high-risk youth and mentors them. We've taken them to the studio, which most people wouldn't believe something. We will rent studio time, allow them to go out and express themselves. We take them on field trips. We have volunteer opportunities, just whatever resources we can provide to their families. We even have a designated room in Henry Ford High School for the People's Action.
Excellent.
And the youth check in with our team Monday through Fridays. They receive popular education, a lot of it pertaining to Black history or the history of just successful people financially in the world. So they understand what mindsets those individuals had in order to gain the wealth and success that they have.
So they don't feel thrown away.
No.
Despite, and there's no judgment call.
Absolutely not.
So whatever has happened, we understand that's happened, but now we're still working with our youth to produce for our generation, a strong generation nonetheless.
Yes.
That is wonderful. What is some of the feedback? What are some of the positive feedback you've gotten from the program in these schools?
Well, we received a report from Henry Ford High School, and don't quote me, this may not be exact, but we have increased attendance upwards of 40%.
Go ahead.
Since we've implemented the program.
Right.
And one thing that we do know is that attendance is directly tied to delinquent behavior.
Yes, yes.
We're also about to introduce a fellowship program for the summer.
Yeah.
So those youth will check in with our team. We're going to have our hub on West 7 Mile. There will be, again, popular education, learning about your history, where you came from, and how it should be represented in you today.
Exactly.
This is not, this is not Black history. This is you and who you are currently. And how are you going to embrace what the foundation that's already been laid for you?
That's so fun. So many times you hear programs and they have a start and an end date. So by going through the summer, it's not letting them go. So they have this free time, if you will. Now, when I grew up, they always had something for us to do all year round. It was always, even if our parents had to make up a homework packet, they were going to keep us busy because, as you know, they say idle time is that devil's workshop. So this is an excellent opportunity to keep them engaged, keep them checking in so they don't stray off. And they have people who care for them. That's wonderful. So let me ask you this, because the People's Action also deal with conflict resolution in the city. I know I've seen Mr. Vu recently with the Black men reading in the schools or some program recently. So I know you all are involved in that as well. Can we speak on the conflict resolution an initiative that's been in the city of Detroit?
Oh, okay. So that's a multi-layered effort, right?
Okay.
How do you get individuals, not just youth, but community members to come to you when there is a problem?
Right.
And we do that by having what scholars would call trusted messengers.
Okay.
But what we do is we have individuals on our team who have been where the youth are at. And also they live in the communities. That
most important.
Yes, they are there. They see these adults in their neighborhoods. They see them going to the store. They see them driving by. So it's about building relationships with folks that we already know are may be inclined to participate in some behaviors, so that they come to us and say, listen, this is what I'm dealing with. And from there, we begin to build up a rapport, not only with them, but what the youth would call the ops. Right. And we begin to have conversations about what is a productive way to manage this conflict. It doesn't happen all the time, right? And there are some things that we miss, but we are hoping that as we continue to engage, that it will become common practice to just have a conversation with your OG. You have an OG mentor. Talk to them about what's going on so that you can kind of have a clear head, examine it, and say, is this really worth it?
It's so important because we have to police our own community. And we have issues that are going on with young people right here that if we can get a grip on it. There was a shooting just over yesterday.
Yes.
In a park right here in the city of Detroit. Young people. And a child, from what they say, pulled out a gun at the park and shot. And a 3-year-old, a 6-year-old, an 18-year-old pregnant woman was all injured, all in critical condition at the hospital, all over whatever this issue was that resulted in pulling out a gun. So the conflict resolution is so needed right now, because that's one example in the city of Detroit, but I'm sure we can name examples all over the country where this is needed. What started the conflict resolution initiative? What was the need?
Well, conflict resolution is really an extension of emotional intelligence.
Right.
And we really have to begin to emphasize being in control of your own emotions and stepping back when you are upset. And that very same park, Rouge Park, 6 years ago, Francesca Marks was killed. Francesca Marks was at the park with, I believe it was her husband and her 6 children. And a fight broke out on the basketball court. And somebody was upset, and they came and shot up the park and killed this mother in front of her 6 children.
Wow.
Now, you were at the game. You were angry enough to leave, still vengeful enough to grab your weapon and come back. And nothing during that time said, what am I doing? And we're all guilty of it.
Oh, yeah, definite.
We are all guilty of it. And I think maybe it took my own journey through therapy and understanding. For me, my biggest thing is I don't want to be upset because it takes me days to calm down.
Yes.
And I'm tired.
Yeah.
And it's heavy. And do you really want to be walking around in what I know now is a dissociated state because somebody upset you and you weren't able
you got
to
triggered over here
3 days ago. So now you're walking around in a daze. When you begin to talk to people about, I know what you're feeling, and not even what are you thinking, what is your body feeling like, and how do you adjust that? Because it is freeing. How do you free yourself from being controlled by your emotions?
Right.
And are you really going to allow somebody else to control you? Because that's what they've done. They are controlling you. So once you begin to talk to youth like so you don't have control of yourself?
Right.
So you won't have control of your future? JDF is filled with youth.
Yeah.
And we've heard the stories. Showering every 3 days. Packed in cells. Not enough staff. They're in a zoo. Where do you begin to connect those dots?
Right. And get in, and that's the beauty of what the People's Action is doing, stepping in and trying to give those tools before we have to go there.
Yes.
And it reminds me of 2 things. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, think at least 5 times before you move, before you speak. Just think 5 times first. And that's a minimum. And the Minister Louis Farrakhan, gave us a study guide entitled Rise Above Emotion into the Thinking of God. And a lot of times, exactly what you said, one decision in an emotion can cost you 20 years of your life. It can sit you in a cell for life. So how do we give our youth the tools, our people the tools, so we're not losing more in a penal system or to death when we can simply figure out how to resolve it in advance?
Yeah.
So that's an excellent program. Now, I know that you all are working here in the city of Detroit. You're also doing things to help out, because one of your main things is also helping to employ.
Yep.
Where people have employment, which again, take care of a lot of other issues. Is that a purposeful part of the People's Action?
It absolutely is. So we have we're a Jumpstart mentor organization. IDO is what they call them. We also offer career readiness courses, and we try to hire people from our communities, people that look like us, because we have to inspire. And then we also have a very large canvassing operation, and again, people who are from the city, who can relate to Detroit, who know Detroiters, and who want to give back.
Yes.
And we understand that having opportunities for employment is one of the largest indicators in the success of a community as a whole. And we are very serious about hiring individuals despite what people may think backgrounds that would preclude them from employment.
Right.
As long as you don't have anything that, will put you on a registry or something like that, you are welcome to work with us. We'll give you a chance. Right. Whether it be on our CVI team, and we specifically look for people with backgrounds for our CVI team. Right. That's actually one of the criteria that works for you. Right. If you have maybe a gun charge from 10 years ago, if you used to have gang affiliations and you still have those affiliations, but you understand that you need to be doing better in your community. Those things actually
better. That's a plus here.
Yes, because we want you to be able to relate. Right. We're not asking for anybody to change some of their values, because as you know, gangs or organizations, they were established because they had shared values and they had a familial connection, and a lot of them although they did a lot of bad in the community, they did a lot of good in the community. There was a structure, and we don't want you to lose that, but we want to give you a platform and an avenue to really enhance your engagement in the community and guide these young guys. Right. What I've seen, and Detroit is very unique when it comes to organizations that the government calls gangs. I don't like calling them gangs. I'm going to call them organizations. The more recent generations here in the city of Detroit, there's not a lot of structure, which leads to a bit of some chaos. Right. There isn't a hierarchy. And what we're trying to do is introduce a hierarchy, a positive one, so that they have somebody to look to.
Excellent. Yeah. Now, to those who are watching and they're thinking, wow, I would love to start a nonprofit. I would love to have a people's action in my city. How could they go about becoming a part of either the People's Action here in Detroit, Houston, or Atlanta, and or starting a People's Action branch in their cities?
So if you're located in Detroit, Atlanta, or Houston, or even if you want to start one, reach out to us. Houston was started because somebody reached out to us on social media and said, we want this here. Atlanta was started because one of our members moved, and a year later they said, we need to have this here.
Excellent.
Yes, and we allow them to grow organically. You're not directly linked to the People's Action Detroit. It's an umbrella organization. We want you to build your organization so that it looks like something that benefits your community. Right. These are not cookie-cutter communities. Right. So what works up here
may not work there. Right. Exactly.
Okay. What's going to remain the same is we're going to give you the tools to engage and collect that data in a loving way.
Right.
And protect that data.
So now you've heard it here. If after hearing what you hear that the People Action stands for, if you're looking for this in your community, ways to engage the community, offer employment, work with the people, give ways for conflict resolutions in our schools as well as in our communities, please reach out. How could they get in touch with you?
So you can reach out to us on our website, www.thepeoplesaction.com. And
that's going to be below.
The People's with the S, right?
Right.
Thepeoplesaction.com. You can send us an email to info@thepeoplesaction.com. You can reach out to us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We are responsive in a plethora of ways, and we'll connect you. If you're trying to get to Houston, we'll connect you to Houston. If you're trying to get to Atlanta, we'll connect you to Atlanta. If you're here in Detroit, we always have events here in Detroit. This summer we have Adopt the Block. That is an ongoing series where every couple of weeks we set up, hand out free food, clean the community, Engage with the residents. This next one is going to be May 19th from 2 to 5, and we're setting up at Lou's Deli.
Excellent. So the Lou's Deli on 7 Mile. Okay.
Yes, on 7 Mile, and we'll be cleaning that community. And last year, one of our most impactful Adopt-A-Blocks was with Mo's number one. It was our first Adopt-A-Block of the year. And when I say y'all showed up and showed out,
that's what we known for.
We had full hair park, and one day it was
excellent.
It was beautiful.
Shout out to Student Minister Troy and the brothers and sisters over at Mo's number one. Yes. So again, we want to extend that to the whole nation of Islam, to every mosque, every study group, to every community that's watching, whether it's in the nation, outside the nation, in another community, church, program. We want you to connect with the People's Action. Again, that's www.thepeoplesaction.com. The email is info@thepeoplesaction.com. We'll make sure that information is provided as well. We thank you so much for being a part. Before you leave, is there anything that you would like to end on the note to let the people know about the People's Action?
Well, first and primary, I want to say thank you for having me.
Oh, we're welcome.
You know, I see your spirit is so genuine.
Oh, thank you.
And your desire to uplift and engage and empower members in our community is, I would call it unprecedented. You have an impact on just about anybody you encounter. So thank you, because I appreciate you bringing me on. I'll say that the People's Action is an organization of different people with different backgrounds, different belief systems, different ideas, different religions, political backgrounds. But our number one goal is to build up the Black community.
Yes.
And if you feel a desire to engage our community, to empower our community, to build it up, come with a clear mind and a clear heart.
Yes.
And we are here to embrace you, regardless of who you are, what you believe. As long as your goal is to uplift the Black community, we want to hold hands.
Excellent. Well, you heard it here. So please, let's flood the People's Action with contact so that we can work as a community to pull all our resources to improve where we live right here in our community. So again, we thank you so much for being here. You'll tune in for more. Don't forget, subscribe and like. Check us out on our website. And again, thank you for being a part, and you have a great evening. Peace and blessings. Peace be unto you. It's your sister, Fatimah Muhammad of At My Sister's House. Don't forget to check out all the episodes on At My Sister House Talk on our YouTube channel, as well as check out the website, www.atmysistershouse.org.